I'm back. It has been one of the most wild off seasons of my life. Quarterbacks flying everywhere, receivers switching teams, trades, and everything in between. And we're just getting started, because up next, we got the NFL draft. We've seen how the draft has affected teams before, such as the Chargers getting Justin Herbert last year, Justin Jefferson going to the Vikings last year. But how are things going to shake out in 2021? We're going to get into the first 15 picks of the NFL draft, a little miniature mock draft, maybe the first of many. We'll see how many we get to before the draft actually happens. But first, hit that intro.
I gave you fair warning, beware. Smack him in the toward the end zone. It is caught for the touchdown. Smack him in the mouth. I gave you fair warning, beware. I'll smack him in the mouth.
What is up, everyone? I know this is a little bit of a weird setup, but I am still Mike, and I am still on the mic of the most electrifying sports YouTube channel in the game today. How's everyone going? I hope everyone's having a great offseason. I hope everyone's teams are making all the moves that y'all want to see made. I'm coming to you with the mock draft of the first 15 picks of the first round. It's going to be short. It's going to be quick. I'm going to give a little bit of reason why I'm going to be drafting each player to each team, and I'm going to be drafting from the sense of what I think the teams are going to do, not as if I am the GM. If you want to know what I would do as the GM, this is kind of preemptive. We're going to be over on the Warzone Sports Network doing full mock drafts starting next week of the first round. We're going to do a couple of them live. So if you guys want to go over to the Warzone Sports Network on YouTube, I'd really appreciate it. I know one of the co-founders over there at the Warzone Sports Network pretty well. It's me. I am one of the co-founders of the Warzone Sports Network. And I'm just letting you guys know now, right now, 3 weekly shows are going down over there, so you do not want to miss out. And on top of it, there's more coming, so stay tuned for that. Warzone Sports Network on YouTube. Super proud of the work that we do over there. It's a really good operation, a really good channel for sports fans of all kinds. A little bit of foreshadowing there. We're adding some shows for some other sports, so that way we can appeal to everyone. So if you like sports, that's where you got to go. Warzone Sports Network on YouTube. If you want to play a drinking game, you could have taken a shot every time I said Warzone Sports Network. You'd already be messed up. Also, it'll take you 2 seconds. 2 seconds. I know I'm not in the full screen right now like I usually am, but 2 seconds to help me accomplish my dreams at doing this on a more full-time basis. So all you got to do is hit the subscribe button, tap that little notification bell next to it. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and we're about halfway there. So every single person that we can get to subscribe to this channel will count and be a big deal. And I appreciate every single person that subscribes. Also, on your way, while you're there, smash that like button. Helps us a ton in the algorithm to getting this to more people. Anyways, without further ado, this is my first time using a system like this. You got me in the corner. Hopefully everything's going smoothly so far. If not, I'm going to be upset in post-edit. But we're going to be going through a first 15 picks mock draft. I think it's going to be a little bit crazy. I'm including trades in this, and once again, I want to put the disclaimer out there what I think these NFL GMs are going to do. I am not an NFL GM, and there's a reason for it, and I always give that disclaimer out when I'm making these picks or when I'm doing these kind of predictive type of things. I'm excited to get into it, and there's a lot of wild cards here in these first 15 picks. This really is a tease to the full mock drafts we're going to be doing on the Warzone Sports Network. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So at number 1, it's the easiest pick of the draft, obviously. If the Jaguars do not take Trevor Lawrence first overall, then they should be ashamed of themselves. It's going to be Trevor Lawrence. They're going to take Trevor Lawrence, and he's going to be the QB of the future. I've heard some people trying to bring down Trevor Lawrence or say that he's going to be a bust, this, that, and the other. I truly think that Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback in this draft by a very wide margin. He's very good on the run. He's very good in the pocket. He's sneaky athletic to what a lot of people think. I think that Trevor Lawrence is the obvious pick here, and if the Jaguars even think about going anywhere other than quarterback Trevor Lawrence, I mean, I think if they do take Trevor Lawrence, and I'll go ahead and say it on this video, I've been saving this, with what they did in free agency and with what they can still do in the NFL draft, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to win 7-8 games next year, which is a huge improvement from previous seasons. They got to work on that defense a little bit more, but I think that Trevor Lawrence is going to have a good time with Marvin Jones, DJ Chark, and James Robinson in this offense. So Trevor Lawrence, home run shot, and I don't think he's a bust. I just want to go on the record. I think he is going to be very good NFL quarterback for years to come. Now we move on to number 2 where things get interesting. The Jets just traded Sam Darnold, so I think it's got to be Zach Wilson, right? You got to be sitting here thinking I'm going to take the second best quarterback off the board here. Now, do I necessarily think that Zach Wilson's going to be the second best quarterback out of this draft? I think that's still to be told. You can ask Sam Darnold what it's like to be the quarterback of the New York Jets. Not very fun.
Bro, I'm straight up not having a good time.
So I think that the Zach Wilson story has a lot to be told still. We'll see what the Jets can do. They did have a very good free agency, brought in a lot of guys, brought in some weapons, brought in Corey Davis. So Zach Wilson isn't going to be left on the burner as much as Sam Darnold did. I'm glad they traded Sam Darnold out of there so he can get a true second chance in the NFL. I don't think that if they would have kept him and had Zach Wilson be his backup, that's not a true second chance in the NFL. And I'm still on the fence about Sam Darnold. I don't know if that's going to pay off for the Panthers or not, but I am glad to see him get a second chance because I do think he does deserve a second chance. I mean, his entire career has been hindered by being on the New York Jets so far. Moving on to 3, the 49ers made the big trade up to come up to this spot. There is a ton of rumors swirling that the 49ers are looking at Mac Jones. I am going to go ahead and say that I personally think the 49ers are either going to wisen up or this is a smokescreen. So either they're going to wisen up and go ahead and take Justin Fields, or this is a smokescreen to try and make teams think that they're not taking Justin Fields. Justin Fields could be in the conversation for the second best quarterback in this draft class. Zach Wilson's pro day is really what's holding him above Fields. Fields has his knocks, but I think if you insert him into the San Francisco 49ers offense, he's going to add that element to be able to take off. But also in his senior year, he was very good from the pocket, especially in those later games going into the playoffs. I've been following Justin Fields since he was a kid. I don't know if you guys have seen the QB1 documentary. I highly recommend it. I loved that documentary actually, and I'm a big fan of Justin Fields because of that documentary. So I'm very familiar with him, very familiar with his story, and I think he's going to be a great quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers here at 3. I don't see them trading up to 3 to get Mac Jones. They're going to get Mac Jones. I think they were safe where they were at, or they only had to trade up inside of like the top 10. I don't think they had to go all the way up to 3, which leads me to believe that all the Mac Jones talk is either just them feeling it out, you know, putting out some stuff, or it is literally just a smokescreen. So I think they're going to wisen up and go ahead and take Justin Fields. Now we get to pick number 4, and this is where the draft is going to get real interesting. The Atlanta Falcons have kind of made it public that they are ready to trade out of this pick. With a couple quarterbacks left on the board, I could see a couple teams that want to get into this conversation. Obviously, the Patriots. We don't know if Cam Newton's their long-term plan. I'm assuming not, because Cam Newton is falling off, and he's towards the end of his career, in my opinion. Especially with all the injuries that he suffered over time. Shoulder doesn't look the same as it was before. He doesn't have quite as much power as he's always had in the past. So I think Cam Newton's on his way out of New England. This is maybe a one-more-year thing, or 2 at the max. So we can see the Patriots coming in here, taking this pick from the Falcons. I just don't know if the Patriots really want to make that bold of a move to move up. They don't usually get flashy with those kind of trades and trade a bunch of draft capital to move up to a spot like this. So if you see the Patriots do this, whoever they take, Bill Belichick thinks is the absolute real deal. Then you got the Bears. They did sign Andy Dalton, but you can't be sitting here thinking that Andy Dalton's the long-term solution for the Bears. So I can see the Bears moving in here to 4. It's just how much do they have to give up to move here? They may have to give up a player with some picks versus just picks to move up to 4. And then we got the team that I think is actually going to pull this trade off, and I'm going to go ahead and trade the 4th overall pick. The Falcons are going to trade this pick. So I'm actually going to predict that I'm actually going to go with the Denver Broncos trading up here instead of the Bears and the Patriots, the 2 other teams that I was thinking might be in this conversation. Broncos are going to have to give up a haul here. It is the 4th overall pick. We saw 3 first-round picks go from the 49ers moving up to 3. I don't think they're going to have to give up 3 first-round picks because this is going to be the 4th quarterback off the board. So I'm going to say they give up the 9th pick, so that way the Falcons are going to move back to 9. I'm going to say they give up a 4th in 2021, and then we're going to move to 2022 here, and we're going to give up another first-round pick. So 2 first-round picks and a 4th this year to move up 5 spots, and you know, you can kind of go ahead and assume maybe the Broncos have to give up a little bit more, maybe a late pick next year, 4th or 5th, but I'm going to say that the Falcons take the first-round pick and the 4th-round pick and go ahead and accept it. It's going to evaluate the offer, but they're going to accept it. There we go. Broncos accept the offer. So the Broncos are on the clock here, and of course, quarterback is the big deal here and the big deal in this entire draft. Now, something that really could change this for the Denver Broncos, if the 49ers do indeed go ahead and take Mac Jones, which I think would be a costly mistake, a franchise-changing, in a negative way, mistake. If they go ahead and take Mac Jones, I could see the Broncos either not wanting to give up as much to move up these 5 spots or go ahead and sit back and see what the Falcons do, because the Falcons trade out and another team comes up and takes a quarterback like, say, Justin Fields right here at 4. That leaves Trey Lance to slide probably to pick 9, where the Broncos can get him anyways. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and draft Trey Lance here. The Broncos trade up. They lose a first-round pick next year to get Lance, but I think it's worth it with the upside that Lance has. I know the Broncos have Drew Lock on the roster, and I think Drew Lock's going to start off the season as the quarterback 1 still, and it's going to be his real final chance to try and wow us. Honest to God, I've watched a lot of film on Drew Lock, and I just don't think that he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's going to be in the league for long term. He had more turnovers last year than he did touchdowns. I know he's had injuries around him, but when you watch his film, it's a mechanics issue. It's not a lack of weapons issue, in my opinion. I don't see Drew Lock being the guy for the Broncos long term. And I think the Broncos kind of start to see that also, because that's why they're in the talks to get Deshaun Watson. That's why they're in the talks to trade up and get a guy like Trey Lance or Justin Fields if the 49ers do take Mac Jones. You got to look at Trey Lance, see a lot of similarities to Patrick Mahomes. He's just so raw. So that's why I think maybe you keep Drew Lock, let him start the season, and when things start to fall apart with him, if they start to fall apart with him, insert Trey Lance. He can come in and take over the QB1 position for the Denver Broncos. Another thing with the Broncos trading up, GM George Patton has been absolutely insane this offseason. I want to go ahead and point that out. The Broncos sneakily had one of the best offseasons out of all the teams this year. So this is a good move for them. They're going to get their quarterback, and this team's going to start competing in the AFC West. All right, moving on to the Bengals. This is another one that could shake things up. I think the clear-cut answer here for the Bengals, Penei Sewell. A lot of people are looking at him as a generational type of offensive line talent, something that we haven't seen in a long time in the draft. And if he was in another draft without these quarterbacks, he may be a number 1 overall pick. That would be the obvious pick, but I've seen a lot of reports that they want to reunite Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase, and I think the Bengals are going to do it. Now, I know this may be a shocker of a pick because they should go ahead and take Sewell here, or Kyle Pitts even. Jamar Chase will be a very good weapon. He is going to be a good receiver in the NFL, and he will be a wide receiver 1 on this Bengals team, with Tyler Boyd still being the wide receiver 2. I think Tyler Boyd's always thrived as that slot receiver, wide receiver 2 position. In my personal opinion, I think it's way more important that they go ahead and get offensive line here, but with all the reports I'm seeing and what I think the Bengals are probably thinking here based off of past drafts, I think the Bengals are going to go ahead and take Jamar Chase here. In my personal opinion, I think that Joe Burrow's amazing. I think Joe Burrow's going to be an elite quarterback in the NFL if he can stay healthy. And the biggest deal with that is Penei Sewell. Getting him on this team would help them keep Joe Burrow upright and keep him healthy. I don't think that Joe Burrow needs elite wide receivers to succeed in the NFL, and they definitely can get wide receivers later on in the draft. So hopefully the Bengals wisen up like I had the 49ers wisen up, but I really think they're going to take Jamar Chase here, which leaves Sewell to fall to the Miami Dolphins at 6, which would be the steal of a lifetime because the Dolphins were at 3. They acquired a bunch of first-round picks, moved back to 6, and get the guy that I think they probably wanted anyways. Tua gets some more protection. This will help out with the run game and all of the above. Overall, this is the move that the Miami Dolphins hopefully get to make here, and I think the Dolphins probably are looking at this as what they plan to do anyways, is get Sewell. Again, Kyle Pitts, very tempting here for the Dolphins also, but I think that adding Sewell, this generation type of talent, he's going to be a rookie contract for a couple years, is going to help out this Miami Dolphins offense, especially stylistically. You see them running the ball a lot, doing a lot of play action and game management type of style offense with Brian Flores and the rest of the gang at the helm. Sewell falling into 6 is going to be a steal for the Dolphins. So excited for you Dolphins fans if this happens in real life. It really depends on what the Bengals decide to do. But I think if the Miami Dolphins don't get Sewell, and if the Bengals go ahead and take Sewell, you can expect to see them looking at Kyle Pitts here, possibly, or maybe even a Jaylen Waddle. But I think Kyle Pitts is probably the more clear-cut answer for the Dolphins at number 6. Add some more weapons to this offense for Tua to get the ball to. Next up, we got the Detroit Lions, and in my opinion, the Detroit Lions currently standing are in the bottom 3 in the NFL as far as talent on the roster, and I think they're going to have a very rough year next year. So they need just about everything except for quarterback. And I'm not the biggest Jared Goff fan. He's not on my poop list like Danny Dimes and Drew Lock, but I'm not the biggest Jared Goff fan. I don't think he's going to be able to carry this team, but I think the quarterback position, they're going to go ahead and give him a shot. So basically everything but quarterback is a need for the Detroit Lions. They lost both of their starting wide receivers in free agency this last offseason, and Marvin Jones and Kenny Golladay both leaving the team. You bring in Jared Goff. If you're actually going to give Jared Goff a chance, you got to get him some weapons. So I'm going to go ahead and draft Jaylen Waddle here. It's a little bit of a reach for the Lions, and they could trade back out of this position if someone wants to come up and get a guy like Mac Jones. But I think that Jaylen Waddle will help out Goff a lot, and I think Goff needs the help. So here we go. Move on to the Carolina Panthers, who just got Sam Darnold, and I think this is going to be the best fit for Kyle Pitts. Imagine this offense. Christian McCaffrey at running back, DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson at the wide receivers, and you bring out Kyle Pitts at tight end. If Sam Darnold doesn't succeed in this offense, then we know that he's not going to succeed in any offense on any team in the NFL. This will clear up everything. This will answer any questions that anyone could possibly have of Sam Darnold to this point in his career. If they pick up Kyle Pitts, this offense should be one of the better offenses in the NFL based on how Sam Darnold plays. So I'm going to take Kyle Pitts here, and I would love to see it. I think he would look good in a Panthers uniform. I think he'd be a game changer for them. So now we move on to the Falcons, which is an interesting situation for them because they traded back to 9 so Denver could come up and get Trey Lance. The reason I had them trading back also is because I think Matt Ryan does have a couple more good years in him. He's not my favorite quarterback in the NFL, and he never has been, but he's still playing at a decent level, and I think he's probably got 3 or 4 more years left in him, at least 2 more years. So the Falcons aren't thinking quarterback immediately like some people may have thought. So I don't think they're going to take a quarterback here at 9 either. I don't see you trading back and taking Mac Jones back here when you probably would have had the chance to get him at 4 if the 49ers did wisen up, like I said, with the Justin Fields pick. Falcons lost Desmond Trufant, starting corner, in free agency this year, so I'm going to go ahead and replace him, and I'm going to draft Patrick Surtain the second out of Alabama to the Atlanta Falcons. Surtain, I personally like Farley a little bit better than Surtain, but I think Surtain's a good fit for the Falcons here. They need a guy to come in and guard wide receiver ones in one-on-one coverage. Surtain's a big body, and he can do it. I like Caleb Farley still as the best corner in this draft, but the injury concerns I think is going to have him slide to the middle of the first round more than inside the top 10. I think Surtain's a safer pick for the Falcons here, and because they traded back and got some draft capital, I see them going ahead and locking down this corner, Surtain, right here. And you know the Cowboys probably are going to be pissed off that they just took their guy right before him. I've seen about 10 mock drafts, and all of them have the Cowboys getting Surtain here. So if the Falcons do trade back to 9, draft the cornerback the Cowboys want. Just more bad luck for the Dallas Cowboys. So who are the Dallas Cowboys going to take? I still think they want to add to this defense. This defense needs a ton of help, and I really think that Dak Prescott being back in the lineup is really going to set this offense up for success. Everyone's play is going to be elevated from the offensive line to the running backs to the receivers. I mean, imagine if the Cowboys get Pitts into this offense. I know they already have decent tight ends, but man, that would be absolutely electric. But anyways, I still think the Cowboys are going to be eyeing defense, and they could use some help as of like a pass rush hybrid linebacker. So I'm going to go ahead and draft Micah Parsons to the Dallas Cowboys. They're pretty strong at linebacker, but I see Jalen Smith's time as a Cowboy coming to an end soon, especially with the contract. I'm not sure what their future plans are with him, and their whole defense needs some help. I think Parsons can also come off the edge if they absolutely need him to. There's some concerns with Micah Parsons' personality traits, but I don't think you get this good at football, get this far in your career, be one of the better players, possibly the best linebacker in the nation by not loving the game of football. I think those are reports that are coming out that might be a little bit inaccurate. Moving on here, we got the New York Football Giants. You see their needs: edge, tight end, linebacker, cornerback. I think that the New York Giants could really use some help by taking an edge rusher here. So I could see a guy like Jalen Phillips. We could see Owusu Korakama. Sorry if I mispronounce his name. We could see Ojulari. We could see Kwity Paye. I think any of these edge rushers could be guys that the Giants could be targeting here. But in this situation, I think that the best edge rusher on the board here left, in my personal opinion, they may be looking at Jalen Phillips or Kwity Paye, but I think it's Aziz here. I think that's the pick for the Giants. I think he's going to change this defense. Honestly, I like Aziz as the best edge rusher in the draft this year. Not a lot of people agree with me on that, but I think that in this situation here, the Giants are going to be looking at edge. I'm going to give them the guy that I think is the best. They could take any of those other edges that I brought up, but I think that that's the clear-cut position for the Giants to pick, and they're probably going to have the pick out of all of them. Maybe the Cowboys take an edge rusher instead. Maybe the Falcons take an edge rusher instead. But everyone else, maybe the Lions, like I said, the Lions could take anyone. But I think that the Giants might have the choice out of all the best edge rushers in the draft this year at this 11 spot. So I'm going to give them Aziz. I hate saying his name because I always mispronounce it, but I think it's Ojulari. Sorry. I can't pronounce these names, but I think he's a beast. I've watched a lot of film on him. I like him. I wouldn't even mind if he slid to my Chargers. It's a little bit of a reach. I know. It's a little bit of bold, but there's going to be some bold picks. There's going to be some shakeups in the draft this year. I see this being one of them. Moving on to the Philadelphia Eagles at 12. I don't think there should be much conversation here with the Eagles. If they're actually going to give Jalen Hurts a chance, they could go quarterback if they really want to shock everyone, and I wouldn't be surprised because the Eagles have been just messing up every draft, it seems like, for the past 3 or 4 seasons. But I think the clear-cut answer here is the Heisman Trophy winner, DeVonta Smith, and he's just unlucky that these wide receivers didn't get much playing time last year. But these guys both, Jaylen Waddle and Jamar Chase, slide in and go above him, even though he won the Heisman last year. I still think DeVonta Smith is an amazing route runner. I think he's going to be a beast in the NFL in the right situation. Is this the right situation? Personally, for Smith, who knows, right? Because we don't know what Jalen Hurts is going to be as a full-time starter. We don't even know if he's going to be the full-time starter for years to come. But the one thing that we do know is that the Eagles need receivers. They need help at that position. They've kind of messed this pick up multiple times over the last couple of years. So I got them finally getting it right. And I think DeVonta Smith is going to be a good receiver in the NFL. They could go in multiple directions here, but I think that Smith is probably going to be who they take here. I don't see him getting much past this. If they don't take him, I can see the Patriots taking him. I can see, the Cardinals got some aging receivers. They could be looking at him, but I think they're going to be looking defense. Raiders definitely could be looking at Smith. So I think that they're going to take him here and just go ahead and lock down that wide receiver position since they messed it up so many times in the past. Now we got your Los Angeles Chargers and my Los Angeles Chargers. I am a Chargers fan, and this may be biased. It's kind of how it worked out when I sat down and did this mock draft. Like I said, I'm not an NFL GM, so of course it's not going to go down exactly like this. This is kind of just what I think is going to happen based off of the news and reports that we have today. I got Rashawn Slater falling all the way back to us. And it would be absolutely insane because I think he's the second best offensive lineman in this draft, and he has similar upside to Sewell. And I know you may look at me as crazy for saying that, but go and do some research on this kid, Rashawn Slater. He is an absolute beast. And I think in another draft where these quarterbacks don't exist, like I said, he is going to be a top 5 pick along with Sewell. I love this for the Chargers. This will be the absolute dream scenario. Some other guys they're probably going to be looking at is Christian Darrisaw. If Slater gets taken by any of these teams, all of these teams could use Slater. Very rarely do you have teams with 2 really good offensive tackles on both the right and left side. So anyone could take Slater. This would be absolutely insane if the Chargers got him at 13, an absolute steal. But the Chargers and Tom Telesco have been known for getting these kind of steals late in drafts, late in first round. So I would love to see it. This is more of like a mid-first round pick. If the Chargers get Slater, man, I'm gonna be jumping up and down, super happy. But like I said, we could be looking at Darrisaw or Vera Tucker here. We need both positions, the tackle and a guard. So I think that the Chargers are going to be going offensive line. They kind of backed themselves into a corner here. They could take offensive line if they really like someone that's going to come in and start immediately in the second round. But when I say they backed themselves into a corner, we're paying Brian Bulaga big money. We're paying Corey Linsley big money. Obviously, one of the biggest acquisitions of the offseason. We brought in 2 other offensive linemen that we're going to be paying. The Chargers cannot afford to pay another offensive lineman in free agencies coming up in the future, and they need a tackle. So you got to lock it down here. You got to get a rookie that's going to start for 3 to 4 years until these contracts kind of filter out off the offensive line. I think Slater is going to be perfect for that role. If not Slater, I like Darrisaw. If not Darrisaw, I'm even in on Vera Tucker. Also, I want to give a shout out to Samuel Cosmi. He's going to be more of a late first round guy or even in the 20s, but he's a guy I like also in the draft this year. And Tevin Jenkins, honestly, but I really like Cosmi. If he slid to the second round, I would love for the Chargers to get him also and just double up on O-line. One of them's going to succeed. Anyways, back to the first 15 picks. We're almost done here. gotten here to the Minnesota Vikings. They're another team that I think is going to be looking at an edge rusher. We're going to be looking at a guy that can come off the edge. Yannick Ngakoue just didn't work, and they just haven't really landed their edge rusher of the future. So I'm going to go ahead and draft Kwity Paye. It's a little bit of a reach again for the Vikings, but it's the best position need for them, and he potentially could be the best pass rusher in this draft class, especially if a guy like, I gotta say his name again, Aziz, I'm gonna call him by his first name, that's a little bit easier. A guy like Aziz can't get it done, or if he doesn't end up being the pass rusher that I think he is, because the Giants are reaching a little bit here, Kwity Paye would probably be the best one in this draft so far. I like Rousseau also, but I don't see the Vikings reaching this far for him. He's a guy that could slide into the second round, third round even, possibly. So I don't see them reaching this far, getting him in the first round at 14. But I can see them go ahead and grabbing Kwity Paye here. Call me crazy, there's going to be some reaches in this draft. So go ahead and prepare yourself now. So here we are. We got the New England Patriots, and like I said, they were probably thinking of trading up to this number 4 spot to get their hands on Trey Lance, Justin Fields possibly if they don't take Mac Jones. But this is the situation for Mac Jones. If the 49ers, the team that I think is interested in him, don't take him, and a team trades up and gets Trey Lance here at 4, unless the Broncos are still sitting at 9 and they have interest in Mac Jones is going to slide. And he's going to start sliding quick because all these teams don't necessarily need quarterback right this second, and I think he could slide all the way back to the New England Patriots. Mac Jones, stylistically, I think fits Bill Belichick's offense and what he wants to do with these 2 tight ends that they picked up in the offseason. This would probably be a really good situation for the Patriots, and the Patriots probably already know if the 49ers are going to take Mac Jones or not. So if we see the Patriots trade up to 4, then you could probably go ahead and assume that the 49ers are probably looking at taking Mac Jones with the 3rd overall pick. But if not, and if Mac Jones slides, I think the Patriots won't hesitate. I think to go ahead and take him. I personally don't think that Mac Jones is this crazy prospect that whatever the 49ers are seeing, whatever these people doing mock drafts are seeing, have him going number 3 overall, which is crazy because top 3 picks are generational level talents. I don't think Mac Jones is that, but he can fit a scheme in the NFL, and if he makes decisions quick, he's very good with the IQ, and like I said, making those quick decisions that the Patriots offense is always required from Tom Brady. I don't think Mac Jones is the next Tom Brady, don't get me wrong, but I do think that Mac Jones could potentially step in and be a very solid starter for the New England Patriots for years to come. We'll see just how good he is and how much he actually slides. This would be crazy if he slid all the way to 15 with what everyone is projecting. Anyways, there you go. That's the first 15 picks mock draft. Mike on the mic style, I guess you would say. A lot of bold picks, some reaches, some trades, everything in between. It's going to be an exciting NFL draft, one of the more exciting ones that we've seen in a long time, just because of all the quarterbacks that are involved in that top 5 range. Let me know what you think of the draft in the comment section below. If it's your team, let me know who you think your team is going to get in the draft this year. And again, it would be a huge help if you could take the 2 seconds to hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell next to it. You'll be alerted every time I upload a video. I try to upload 2 to 3 times a week, sometimes 4 times if I got a free week and the summer's coming. If you want more content from me, Mike on the Mic Sports across the board, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and now on Twitter. Trying to get Twitter going. Don't really have too many Twitter followers right now, but I still put out tweets for me to look at. So if you want to look at them as well, I will see you guys over there in Tweetland, as I like to call it. Final plug. I know I talked about the Warzone Sports Network a lot at the beginning of the video. I'm going to give you one last reminder. All you got to do is search Warzone Sports Network on YouTube or click the link to it in the description, and it'll send you straight to the Warzone Sports Network. You can subscribe over there. I co-host 2 shows over there, and I'm co-founder of the network, so I really appreciate the support, and I think you guys will love it. There are 3 shows, not just these random videos that I make, shows, you know, and actual shows, productions, graphics, formats, all of that kind of stuff. You'll love it, and we have more coming. Possibly going to be doing a show every single day. You don't want to miss it. Warzone Sports Network on YouTube. Head over there. Is that all the cheap plugs for the episode? I think so. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. As always, I just want you guys to know we're not going to agree on everything. I know a lot of people commented on previous videos. yada, 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 yada. We're not going to agree on everything. We probably don't agree on this mock draft. We may not agree with a single pick other than Trevor Lawrence to the Jaguars. I still want to hear from you in the comment section. That's why I do this. I love interacting with people, and my passion is creating content for you to enjoy. And I hope you did enjoy it. I'm Mike on the mic, and this is me saying, until next time.